Eye contact is one of the fastest social signals people have. It is a small, silent way of saying, I see you, I am here, I am listening, I am not a threat. When it lands well, it can feel like a clean connection, almost effortless. When it does not happen, something else happens just as quickly. Many people start filling in the blank without meaning to. They assume disinterest, arrogance, coldness, guilt, flirtation, weakness, or defiance. The mind loves a quick story, especially when the signal is missing. And yet the absence of eye contact can mean so many different things at once. If a simple glance can carry that much weight, what is really happening when someone looks away? A common stereotype says it is just shyness, or worse, rudeness. But here is the thing. Avoiding eye contact is not one single trait. It is a behaviour, and behaviours are often the surface of different inner worlds. Some people look away because they feel unsafe. Some look away because they feel too seen. Some look away because they are thinking hard. Some look away because direct gaze is physically uncomfortable, like a bright light held too close. And some look away because they are trying to manage power in the moment, to avoid being pulled into something they do not want. The same outward movement of the eyes can come from care, fear, habit, culture, or simple wiring. That is why quick judgments tend to miss the truth. Social anxiety is one of the most familiar pathways. Many people with social anxiety do not just fear interaction, they fear evaluation. Eye contact can feel like standing under a spotlight. It is not only a look, it is a test, or at least it feels that way. In the body, this often shows up as a quickening heart, a tightening in the chest, warmth in the face, or a restless energy in the hands. The nervous system reads a gaze as attention, and attention as possible judgment. The mind starts predicting. They will see the mistake before I even make it. Do I look strange? Do I seem awkward? In the interaction, avoiding eye contact can reduce that sense of exposure for a moment. It can also shrink the person's presence. Others may interpret it as distance, even when the person is trying very hard to stay in the conversation. Shame can look similar on the outside, but it has a different emotional flavour. Social anxiety often fears what might happen. Shame feels like something already is true. It carries a sense of being flawed, unworthy, or unacceptable. Those who are steeped in shame may experience eye contact as a mirror they cannot control. It is as if the other person's eyes might confirm what they fear about themselves. In the body, shame often pulls the head down, softens the voice, and collapses posture. The stomach may drop, the throat may tighten, and the person may feel smaller. In the interaction, averted gaze can be an attempt to protect a tender part inside, but it can also create a loop. The other person senses withdrawal, wonders what is wrong, and the shame grows thicker. Sometimes a simple glance becomes loaded with a lifetime of felt criticism. Trauma adds another layer. For some people, direct eye contact is tied to danger. They learned, consciously or not, that being watched could lead to harm, blame, or sudden conflict. Trauma responses are not just memories, they are body states. Hypervigilance is a word that means the nervous system stays on alert, scanning for threat even when nothing obvious is happening. In that state, a gaze can feel like a trigger, not because the other person is doing anything wrong, but because the body remembers. Some people respond by freezing, going still and quiet. Some respond by fawning, trying to please and smooth things over. Some respond by avoiding, turning away to reduce stimulation. In the interaction, this can change the rhythm. The person may seem distracted, tense, or overly careful. Others might think they are not paying attention, when in reality they are paying attention to everything, including the room, the exits, the tone of the voice, and the smallest shift in facial expression. Attachment style also matters, which is a simple way of talking about how comfortable someone is with closeness and dependency. People who grew up with steady care often find eye contact soothing. It confirms connection. People who grew up with unpredictable or intrusive care may experience closeness as complicated. For those who lean avoidant, direct gaze can feel like an invitation to intimacy they are not ready for. They may keep eye contact brief, then look away to maintain space. For those who lean anxious, eye contact can be intensely important, but also intensely frightening. They may seek it and fear losing it at the same time, reading meaning into every glance. In the body, this can look like tension in the shoulders, a held breath, or a subtle urge to retreat. In the interaction, the pattern can create misunderstanding. One person sees distance and assumes indifference. The other person is simply regulating closeness, trying to stay connected without feeling trapped. Sometimes the reason is less about fear and more about emotional regulation. Eye contact can carry emotional intensity. It amplifies feelings. It can make kindness feel warmer, anger feel sharper, flirtation feel louder, sadness feel closer. Many people do not realize how much they rely on gaze to manage emotional volume. Looking away can turn the dial down. It gives the person a moment to keep their voice steady, to find the right words, to stop tears from rising, or to avoid anger spilling out. In the interaction, it can prevent escalation, and yet it can also be misread as disengagement. A person might look away to stay kind, while the other person believes they are being dismissed. How often do people mistake self-control for lack of care? Cognitive load and concentration are another overlooked piece. Some people think best when they do not hold eye contact. Processing language, forming sentences, remembering details, and monitoring social signals all compete for mental resources. When someone is explaining something complex or listening carefully, their eyes may drift away as the brain works. In plain terms, looking at a face can be informative, but it can also be distracting. The mind has to interpret micro-expressions, shifts in gaze, and subtle reactions. For a person who is already working hard to think, that extra layer can be too much. Culture shapes meaning too. In some cultures, direct eye contact with elders or authority figures can be seen as disrespectful. In others, it is expected as a sign of honesty and engagement. Some people are taught to lower their gaze as a sign of humility. Others are taught that looking away is suspicious. So the same moment can carry opposite meanings depending on what someone learned. In the interaction, two people from different backgrounds can misread each other instantly. Then there is the misunderstanding that shows up again and again, the assumption of dishonesty. Many people were taught that liars look away. Real life is messier. Some people who are anxious look away because they are terrified of being misjudged. Some people who are truthful look away because the truth is hard to say. Some people who are lying hold intense eye contact because they have learned it looks convincing. And some people who are honest use brief glances because that is simply how their nervous system works. The problem is not that people notice eye contact. The problem is the certainty with which they interpret it. The story becomes fixed. They are hiding something. They are not trustworthy. And once that story takes hold, the interaction changes. The listener becomes suspicious. Their tone shifts. Their questions become sharper. The person avoiding eye contact feels that shift in the body. They look away even more. The loop strengthens. Misreading turns into tension, and tension turns into more misreading. Sometimes avoidance of eye contact is relatively healthy. Someone glances away while thinking, then returns. Someone lowers their gaze to calm down, then reconnects when ready. Someone respects a cultural norm without losing warmth in their voice. Someone with sensory sensitivity chooses what is manageable and still shows care through words and tone. In these cases, the pattern supports the person and the relationship. It is flexible. It fits the moment. Other times it is less healthy. Avoiding eye contact can become a rigid shield. It can be a way of never letting anyone close enough to matter. It can be a habit built on fear that slowly narrows a person's world. It can keep someone from noticing friendly signals in others because they never look long enough to see them. It can make conflict harder to resolve because gaze often helps people sense each other's sincerity. It can also become a way of avoiding responsibility, refusing the shared reality of a conversation. In these cases, the pattern is not just a preference. It is a barrier, and it can leave both sides feeling alone. Still, it is important to hold one idea. The same behaviour can come from different causes. One person looks away because their heart is racing, with fear of judgment. Another looks away because their brain is sorting through complex thoughts. Another looks away because direct gaze feels like sensory overload. Another looks away because they were taught it is respectful. Another looks away because closeness feels unsafe, shaped by earlier relationships. And another looks away because they want to keep control. From the outside, it can look identical. From the inside, it can be entirely different experiences. This is why the reactions of others matter so much. When people assume the worst, they often change their behaviour in ways that create the very distance they fear. They may become colder, more interrogating, more sarcastic, or they may withdraw. The person avoiding eye contact senses it and may feel exposed, judged, or misunderstood. A small social signal turns into a silent argument about meaning, and yet when people hold a little uncertainty, the atmosphere can soften. Not because anyone is pretending, but because ambiguity leaves space for humanity. Some people appreciate being met with patience because it reduces pressure and makes connection possible. Others feel even more uncomfortable if attention is called to it. It depends on what is underneath. Eye contact is not only about manners, it is about nervous systems, learning histories, culture, and the delicate balance between closeness and safety. So when someone looks away, it can help to remember that averted eyes are not always a closed door. They can be a protective gesture. They can be concentration. They can be respect. They can be a boundary. They can be a nervous system trying to settle itself. We can acknowledge the impact because impact is real. Misreading is real. Tension is real. But we can also hold the possibility that there is more than one story happening at once. In a world that rushes to interpret, a little humility can be a form of kindness. And if eye contact is a signal of connection, maybe one of the most human things is recognizing that connection can show up in more than one shape.